All right, I-95
Hello.
studio.
Yes, Jeff Daniels.
Jeff Daniels, this is Ethan and Lou.
Hi, Jeff
We are
Daniels.
live on the air. How are you?
Good.
We're excited that you called, man. I was surprised to hear. I learned last night that you were going to be on the show, and we're very pleasantly surprised.
I'm excited I called, too.
Well, here's the deal. We've been arguing about what clip to play.
It caused
from you.
Yeah, you caused
He wanted
a fight.
to play a clip from Dumb and Dumber.
Sure.
I wanted to play a clip from the newsroom where you were in the garage and you picked up the guitar but you called, so we're not going to play either one.
Okay.
We'll play them later.
Stuff you didn't really need to know. How you doing?
Good, real good.
We are excited that you're coming to the Ridgefield Playhouse. Ethan was playing me some of your music. I'd never been exposed to it before. It's great stuff, man.
Oh, it's fun. It comes from, I started out listening to Steve Goodman and Arlo Guthrie, and then Doc Watson, and Stephen Grossman has been a real influence, and then got into the blues. So that whole songwriting thing has been of interest to me. So I just stayed at it over the years, and now I get to play.
Now, did you fall into acting? I mean, I know you started out as a musician. You wanted to make your living doing that, but did you did it just the acting thing just happen? Were you discovered?
No, I fell into everything.
Okay.
The guitar was the thing I enjoyed and I worked on, but I was good at acting at a young age, and they just said, you need to keep going with this. So I moved to New York in '76, but I bought a guitar and threw it in the back of the car, figuring I need something to do while I was waiting for the phone to ring.
Wait a minute, you threw the Gill D40 in the back of the car?
I did, yeah.
That was Ethan's first guitar, too.
It was.
It's not, it's all right. The neck was too skinny, but
Yeah.
I wish I'd bought a Gibson, but oh well.
So, but you kept playing, but then you got some
Kept
acting
playing,
gigs.
and then I started hanging around playwrights, guys like Lanford Wilson and people like that, and the care that they took in writing and the rewriting, I really fell in love with that. So I'd go back to the apartment, pick up the guitar, and try to do what they did, the imagery and the attention to words and lyrics, and that became of great interest to me, so I just kept at it.
We're talking to actor, musician Jeff Daniels, Dumb and Dumber, Looming Tower, Newsroom, you name it, a million different things. I'm going to pay you a compliment, and it's not going to sound like a compliment.
All right.
But hang in there with me.
It won't be the first time.
Yeah.
In the Newsroom and the Looming Tower, both shows that Ethan and I are big fans of, you play an a-hole better than anybody I've ever seen in my life.
Nicely.
Like this river of anger, but
Yeah.
he's also got these really important lines to deliver, these long lines that have to be super complicated to get across important information, and you play this angry man. Is that part of your personality, or are you just a laid-back guy?
I think I've mined that part of myself all that I can. I'd like to do something different other than just, tap into the rage and anger, though that's a little difficult right now. But, no, it's just, my theory is every actor can do everything. You can. It's in you. It's just whether you want to tap into it or not, or go deep enough and all that. And the writing was so great on with Aaron Sorkin on Newsroom, and then Danny Futterman and company on Looming Tower. It's just if they write it well, then you can jump onto that track and just head right towards anger.
I tell you, I didn't know that you played or were a musician. My wife and I, huge fans of Newsroom, were watching. All of a sudden, in your huge apartment, there stands, and I think maybe it was the Gibson guitar in its stand?
Well, they were Martins. And I have a relationship with Martin because I have far too many of them.
Don't you have a signature model?
I do. And when they made it for me, the custom artist Jeff Daniels edition, I wept openly. But I remember walking into that, you're right, very large apartment of Will McAvoy's,
right.
And they had a couple of other guitars there, and I said, "Can we get Martins?" And they're going, "Well, we tried, but they we haven't heard from them." I said, "Give me a phone." So I called Dick Boak at Martin, and he goes, "I'll take care of you." And there were two Martins out there, and then at the end of the 3 years, I got to keep the Martins. So they're special guitars for me.
Well, we have a lot of musicians who we interview, and I play and sing, and then I get to ask them about what kind of strings they use, what gauge, what's the model number on your guitar. Lou goes crazy because he doesn't give a crap.
Yeah, because Lou represents everyone else who doesn't care.
That's right.
Now, in your acting career, you've played. In fact, this was part of what we were talking about off the air this morning. So many diverse roles. Is that by design?
Yeah, I moved to Michigan in the '80s after 10 years in New York. I just didn't want to live in Hollywood. I didn't know how. I didn't want to learn how. I just didn't want to live there. And part of the plan was to create as wide a range as possible so that between a Dumb and Dumber and, say, a newsroom, there are all these jobs. And it turned out to be a good plan. I remember I did a movie with Clint Eastwood, and Clint said, I had done a drama called 2 Days in the Valley, and he said, if you can do 2 Days in the Valley and you can do Dumb and Dumber, you can do this. And so, it turned into work.
Is there somebody specific that you've been friends with in acting over many years that you just really enjoy working with in particular?
A bunch of people, yeah. Oh, God. And sometimes they're people, oh, God, let's see. Let me go. I'm trying to dial back in the... I pretty much enjoy most everybody unless they're raging a-holes, I can work with anybody, and you try to become friends with them so you trust each other.
Mm-hmm.
And, my God, for an example, Jim Gandolfini. I did a play, God of Carnage, with Jim, and, he wasn't new to theater, but he was a lot newer to it than I was. And so he was kind of, I don't know. And I said, follow me, let's go. And we ran that thing for 7 months and then went to L.A. for 3 months and had a great, great time. And you go out on stage with him, and there's a trust there that happens a lot with other like-minded actors, but not all the time. And Gandolfini was one of them.
We're talking to actor-musician Jeff Daniels coming to the Ridgefield Playhouse. I know exactly what you're talking about when it comes to trust. Ethan and I are close buddies. We've been doing this show together a long time. And the very idea of having to do this with anybody else makes me sad.
Well, it's not a competition,
right?
And that's so many actors, get out of the way. This is my moment, and then they, have a love affair with the audience for 38 seconds, and you just go, I'm over here, he's over here, and those are the people I love working with.
Look, I have to ask you a very unprofessional question.
It's true. No, I'm sorry.
but I have to get your viewpoint on it because you worked with her for all of the episodes of the newsroom. How hot is Olivia Munn in person?
Well, I let's see how to answer that. No, she's great. She yes to that.
Okay.
But she worked really hard, and I remember sitting down with her during the pilot, and she was like, this is going to be really hard. I said, not if you prepare, not if you work hard, and she did, which was great to see.
The whole cast was outstanding. It really.
You had to be. I mean, Sorkin gave you so much dialogue that if you weren't on top of it, you drowned.
We do a thing called walk and talk here in the office. It's when Ethan and I walk around, and we call it the Aaron Sorkin, Tommy.
Not so easy, is it?
No, the Aaron Sorkin, Tommy Schlamme walk and talk. And if you have to remember all those lines and be walking, that you think I can't walk and chew gum, but you can definitely not walk and do those lines at the same time.
That's right, and at 100 miles an hour.
Right. Well, I want to tell you, it was such a pleasure talking to you, and I'm glad your people could put this together. August 12th is the date at the Ridgefield Playhouse, 7:30 show for Jeff Daniels and your son's band, right? Ben Daniels' band.
Well, yeah, when you're out on the road, surround yourself by young professional people. It's a good gig. It's going to be a fun gig.
Well, we saw David Crosby last night at the Playhouse, and he's got some people in his band that are very young and just so talented. So
good enough for David, good enough for me.
That's right. Jeff Daniels, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Jeff.
Appreciate it.
All righty. Take care.